Welcome back, folks, to the Sorry, let's do this again. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, folks, to the Mel Wright Show. This is episode 223. I think we got a fantastic guest. We got the first time ever on the show. We got a doctor on the show. We got Dr. Lee Davenport with us. We're going to be talking about technology tools that she's come across, and also we have come across in 2019 that should help you, the real estate agent, get better performance and a less stressful life in 2020. I've really been looking forward to this conversation. I also got my great co-host, Robert. But first, Dr. Lee, could you give us a quick introduction, Doctor?
Hey guys, so I always talk about how I hated growing up in a real estate family. Now I know I'm like real estate girl now, but hated it growing up because I was an only child and I'm a girly girl. So you see my name is Lee, so you can already see where this is going. Oh my God, I know they wanted a boy. They never said it, but cutting grass, cleaning up after tenants, whatever happened at properties, I was on that cleanup crew, and it was a nightmare for me. So I hated real estate as a result. They weren't on the sales side, they were on property management and had different properties, but I still hated it. I was done. But fast forward, I graduated from University of Michigan, go Blue, and I moved here to Georgia. You know, I got to throw that in. Go Blue.
Of course you do.
I get here to Atlanta like Michigan was on fire. I was done with real estate, but I had a degree in business. I was working in a church basement in accounting and hated it because I just felt trapped. Literally, I was in a basement, So all my friends and family here in Georgia said, "What are you doing? Why aren't you in real estate? You know what to do." So then I started buying a few apartment buildings, and lo and behold.
Just like that. She casually throws it out there. I just decided to buy a few apartment buildings. Most people, that's like the pinnacle of their investment journey. But no, Dr. Lee is going to throw it out there casually as an aside. But go ahead, please continue.
It's only casual because it's in my blood. It was in my, So anyway, but when I did it as an adult, I got it. Because I got to see the money, and I was like, this is why my parents were doing it and were too cheap to hire real labor and have me doing stuff. I get it now. So it was going well until it wasn't, and that was the recession. Once the recession hit, my apartment buildings were upside down like nobody's business. So I was I felt like I was drowning. And I always call my 20s, this was my 20s, my young and dumb years. So young and dumb me said, how bad can it get? Yeah. It was the worst recession since the Great Depression. So
it was so bad it was almost labeled a depression, but the great marketing minds of our era just said, no, we're not going to call it that because people will panic.
Right.
That's literally the reason. But go ahead.
You get it.
Okay.
So I wasn't panicked though, but I probably should have been. But young and dumb me said, well, I know what I'll do. I'll get my real estate sales license. This is the perfect time to sell real estate, even though the market was crashing.
Right.
So crazy me, I get my license, and my brokers at the time, they were like, door knock, cold call, do a lot of the traditional things. None of it worked for me, my personality, the market we were in. So I'm broke and not knowing what to do. I get on the infamous now, but it was unknown at the time, Facebook. I got on Facebook. I remember someone telling me, what are you doing on Facebook? You need to be on MySpace. And it's laughable, right? It's laughable now, like, really? But I got on Facebook. By the end of 2008, my business had grown so much that I had to build a team to keep up with all the leads we were generating. So from there, social media became my thing. So that was the start of me getting into real estate on my own. And then that year, my brokers had me come in and do training. So that was the start of the trainings. And then from there, here we are.
Got you.
Fast forward. Yeah.
A beautiful history. What I think I heard you say in extremely small text was you got in on Facebook so early that it wasn't saturated in terms of marketing, and you probably had no fear in terms of spreading your message about real estate, and thus you turned it into a marketing center for yourself long before, because Facebook became popular in real estate about 3 years ago, and you're talking about 7 years prior to that. You're talking about right when it came out. Am I right?
Exactly.
Do I have my history?
Okay. I think we've already gone into the main part of this show, but
no, we haven't, John. Introduce yourself. How do people get in touch with you? Seriously, dude.
No, let's cut Dr. Lee. Let's go to the main part. But first of all, Robert, can you introduce yourself to the new listeners and viewers?
Sure. I am a world famous. No, I'm just kidding. I'm an inbound marketing dude. I've been raising the flag and telling people for 12 straight years that marketing is changing. That direct marketing in the age of driving people using a paid advertising methodology is dead. I feel so strongly about it. I started a company 4 or 5 years ago, and you can find more information out about me and my thoughts on the subject at my website, which is inboundrem.com.
And I'm the founder of MailRight. We provide a number of tools that help you get quality leads. We mostly use the power of Facebook advertising to get you leads, which then our system will automatically text and email them and keep them live prospects for you to show the quality of your personal service. So, Dr. Lee, a fascinating intro of why you got back into the real estate industry. So we decided our pre-show discussion that we'll be talking about some great tools. So how do we start the conversation, Dr. Lee? Maybe with a couple of tools that you've come across this year that you thought were the best, that really got
the best of 2019. Let's just start it there. So guys, let's give it some razzmatazz. So listeners, we're going to talk about the world's top secret hidden marketing weapons of 2019. And here's Dr. Lee to give you your secret tools for 2020. And go.
I love it.
He's so American, and
I've been hanging out with like the world's most personality for 4 straight days, so it's rubbed off.
And I'm very English, so you're not going to get that from me. So, Dr. Lee, give us some of your best, Lee. Give us some of your best.
Well, let me start with 2 things that I absolutely love that everybody probably already has on their phone. I actually just got off of a coaching call with an agent who was dumbfounded that she had these apps on her phone for like years and hasn't ever used them in real estate. So let's start with these 2. The first one is, believe it or not, the Amazon app. Who doesn't have Amazon, right? So one of my favorite things to use it for is to help agents have a little bit, add a little pizzazz to whatever they're doing. So in the Amazon app, let me explain it, because again, I feel like
I have no idea where you're taking this, Dr. Lee.
I know.
I'm very intrigued how you're gonna link the Amazon app with real estate. But off you go, Dr. Lee.
I feel like we need to whisper this, because I feel like if Amazon gets wind, they might start charging us or something. But yeah. So in the Amazon app, any page you're on, at the top, there's like a little camera icon. And with the camera icon, you can put furniture, appliances, all types of things in the room. They want it because they want to sell their products. But how we can use it is whether you have a home seller that's adamant that they don't need to do any staging and they don't have the vision for, okay, if you just change this or add this or put this here, people would actually like your home better. Or maybe you've got buyers that are on the same end where they're like, I don't think this home is right for us. But then all you do is you drop some of the furniture in and instantly, poof, bam, boom, they get the vision. So I love this app because most of us have it on our phone, and you can pull this out in the middle of a showing, in the middle of a listing presentation. Within seconds, you can wow them, because first they're going to think you have magic, because nobody really knows this about the Amazon app, not in this way. So I love it because you don't have to, of course, there's a lot of staging apps, but you don't have to download anything you don't already have. So
wow, I'll give you a 9 out of 10 for that one.
Yeah. I do believe that Ray, who is my client, who's silently, everybody be thankful for that, sitting over in a corner here, is actually looking that up. Yep, he's got it on his phone. He's checking you out. Real live from your mouth into the hands of a working professional in less than a second.
Yeah. You get 9 out of 10 for that, Dr. Lee. On to the next one. You got another one, Doctor.
The next one that I love that, again, a lot of people have on their phone, Waze, the driving app, just so you can get around places.
Yep.
Well, and I know some people have already started to notice this. A lot of companies are starting to get into advertising their listings and open houses on Waze, but it's still only $2 a day, which is super duper cheap. Like, you can't get that type of exposure and marketing for so little. And I've got a feeling Waze is going to go up on the price once it really catches on. For most of us, it gets a little annoying when, the Waze app is like, go to Dunkin' Donuts. And you're like, no, I'm trying to get to my appointment. Don't bother me. But we're finding that when people have like their open houses on a Saturday and Sunday, people do click. We're getting a high response rate. So it's great. It's my favorite.
Okay, you're actually educating me here, because what I'm hearing you say is that apparently there is some kind of advertising that's available on Waze, which I did not know. And you can pay for that advertising and it's cheap. And one of those things you can pay for is if you have a home that you've listed, you can put your listing on the Waze app. Am I understanding that correct?
You got it. And direct people to you.
Well, Dr. Lee,
are coming as advertised. You are definitely a doctor.
Coming out strong, Dr. Lee. You're coming out strong, Dr. Lee. You're coming out fighting. I'll give you a 10 out of 10. I'll give you a 10 out of 10 for that one, Dr. Lee. So you got a 9 and you got a 10, and we're pretty harsh on our marking, aren't we, Robert?
We are, but neither one of those have I heard, so that was pretty damn good.
There you do. I'm very impressed. So, got any others that come to mind, Dr. Lee?
Yeah, so another one of my favorite apps. Now, this one is not like those two where everybody pretty much has the other two. But this one is actually an OG. It's been around. It's like an original app. But I was just speaking with one of the marketers at Dot Loop about how we all have a lot of apps, right? And it's like, how do we get these apps to talk to each other so that there's synergy, right? So that we don't have to then hire somebody just to keep up with the apps, because it feels that way sometimes. So two of my favorites, IFTTT, that's the OG, that's been around for a while. It stands for if this, then that, but I don't think they go by that anymore. They just stick with the acronym IFTTT. Uh-huh. And with IFTTT, here's the thing that I love. It's free. You can use it for free. They have free they call them recipes, but I guess we would just call it, I don't know, it's kind of just the different skills or the tools in it. But you can take these recipes, and for example, we have it where anytime someone tweets about real estate in Atlanta, which is where I am, we will get an alert that they tweeted about it. And you can set it up for lead generation. You can set it up for follow-up. You could set it up, for example, if you get a lead on Facebook, it will automatically then add the person to your database and also send them a follow-up message. So not to take away from what you guys do though, because yours I know is much more involved. But the point of this is just to get all these different apps talking. So if you have Gmail and your calendar app, all of them now have more synergy. So I love it. I love that app.
I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard of that one either. You really are on the road, Dr. Lee. God almighty.
I may have to take some of these and do a blog post. They are so good that I might have to actually write about some of this, or even better, hand it over to one of my ghostwriters and let them do it. But still, very good.
I'm glad. But see, again, like we're talking about, I feel like some of this stuff, if we bring too much attention, these companies are going to price up the ante. They're not going to.
Well, that tends to be the way, the way that it works, just like Facebook eventually caught on, to the marketing ad. And now they've gone overboard. Everything is so oversaturated. But
Oh,
These are genius.
I disagree with that, but I'm bound to, aren't I? So, on to the next. Got a fourth one because you're really on the roll here. So,
Yeah.
before we go for our break. Have you got another one, Dr. Lee?
I do.
Whoa!
This is as exciting as I've seen John all year. So you're doing a hell of a job.
So I feel like we're all in the zone. I love it. I love it. So this next one, I have to be careful saying this name out loud because she's going to want to
I have that problem regularly, Dr. Lee. I do.
So I'm talking about Amazon Echo, also known as
something which I refuse to have. I'm not having some voice in my listening to me, but maybe I'm an old fuddy duddy.
No, I'm for that because, I talk to a lot of agents when I do workshops about this, and a lot of agents that are using what I'm getting ready to mention, they don't have it themselves, and you don't have to. See, that's what I like about it. So you don't
I have friends that have multiple ladies that they can speak to that are in machines. I have one friend that has 4 from different services, all waiting for different commands. He calls them his ladies. Very sexist, isn't it? But there we go.
He has an app harem, AI harem.
He's got 4 of them. He's got Alexa. He's got another one. He's got 2 others. I said, how many ladies
will speak to you in a commanding English bloke's voice or a sexy English lady's voice, among others. But you're about ready to tell us.
Yeah,
and Jonathan is off on one. So Dr. Lee, what is it that we would do with Alexa should we decide to entertain her?
Yeah. So, and you don't have to actually have her.
Okay.
But here in the U.S., since I know you guys probably have a global audience, but there's a lot of builders who are incorporating the Amazon Echo in homes. So your blinds can open, the music can play, all of that. So it's already incorporated in the home. And we, as agents and firms, we can create it's called Amazon Skill, but that's what we would call an app, right? But with these skills, which are still for free, like they haven't started charging us yet to make them, but you can create it where you can send a weekly or monthly market update. We've got some agents here that have even put them in the different rooms so that when they're doing an open house, from a safety standpoint, they don't have to walk through the house with the people. The people can walk in a room and Alexa will announce what's in the room and the different features and so forth. So she can be used for updates. She can be used for information. She's fabulous. And it's all still free.
Wow.
Fabulous.
Okay.
I love that word, fabulous. It's very English, isn't it? Fabulous. I think we're going to go for our break. Dr. Lee has really come out strong. She'll have to come back on the show in the new year as well. But my God, we're ending 2019 strongly with the help of Dr. Lee. We'll be back in a few moments, folks. We're back. My co-host is a little bit pumped.
Whoa! You're the one who mentioned absolutely fabulous before the end of the break. Don't even talk to me about bump.
I think
I'm about ready to start calling you Patsy.
He's already told me off for my Englishness, listeners and viewers, but I just can't help it. That's my ethnicity. But we also got the great Dr. Lee with us, and she's been on fire, folks. She's come out strong fighting, and she's brought some apps and technology. Well, I'll give you top marks for the first half of the show, Dr. Lee.
It's amazing.
What an entrance. So, have you got any other products or services that have come on your radar in 2019 that you want to share with our beloved listeners and viewers?
Yes, I've got probably so many, but I definitely have 2 more that I absolutely want to talk about. So I do want to mention, I briefly before the break talked about safety. That is such an issue here.
It certainly is. It certainly is, isn't it?
Is that, yeah, I don't know what it is.
Big issue, yes.
I'm like, was something in the water this year? Every time I turned around, there were reports of assaults and attacks, and it's like, come on, we're just trying to sell homes. So I have an app, one of my favorite apps that I encourage every agent to put on their phone and use before they meet someone, especially if it's someone new. It's called Be Safe. We can use it for free. It is on Android and Apple. I don't know. Do people still use like BlackBerry? I think that's still a thing, but I don't
I don't
know.
know about that. But go ahead. But go.
Secret Service, maybe. If you're a spook, you might be still on them. But there we go.
But with Be Safe, you can set it up. You turn it on basically right before you meet with the client. And what it's going to do every few minutes, it's going to ring you. If you don't respond, then it's going to notify not only of the people that you identify as important people, like a spouse or whatever, broker, but it can also call the police, and it will start video recording. So if someone messes with your phone, they're on live camera. So I love it. It gives out your GPS location. It's fabulous because so often we meet some strange people out here.
Certainly, I really think that's a fantastic, and hopefully Dr. Lee's going to send me all the links because I've got to make sure all this is in the show notes. But that's a fantastic app, isn't it, Dr. Lee?
It's been a lifesaver for so many of us. Oh, and then it has this thing on there from just a funny standpoint. Like if you ever are with someone who maybe talks too much and you're ready to go, it can call you. So you're like, oh, I got to take this call. And it's, it's not, but you can get away. Even if they're just a little annoying. Maybe they're not a threat, but.
Right. Oh dear. I wish I had that. There's been some very long conversations this year, but there we go. Fabulous. So on to the next one, Dr. Lee. You get another 10 out of 10 for that one.
Yeah. Really batting 100 so far.
Wow.
Yay. I'm such a geek, and I don't know, you can probably see I'm starting to geek out a little bit over here. So
please, one more. Yeah, this was one more you had to talk about. So what I'm anxious to hear what this one is.
So this, I know iBuying is a little controversial for certain firms and agents, but as I mentioned, even when Facebook was still very new, I was an early adopter. So I like keeping up with trends and just moving forward as opposed to bucking against, what's coming. So anyway, there is a new product or software out, or it's a website. It's called offerburn.com. And what they do, they basically give agents, particularly if your firm doesn't already have like an iBuying platform. Some firms do, like the larger ones, but some of the smaller ones don't. So OfferBurn, what it does, it allows just the everyday Joe Blow agent to still be able to compare all of the numbers that a seller would get from an iBuyer, so that they can stay competitive. So they can walk into the listing presentation and say, hey, I know this is what these other iBuying companies might offer you, but this is what I deliver. And that's a game changer. So
you get a 10 plus for that one. My God. Oh my God, Farmers. I haven't even heard of these, most of these, and I think if I'm reasonably on. Wow, that's if you can use that, you've got to get that. I think these last two are fabulous, actually, Dr. Lee.
Right.
Fabulous.
So I'm gonna add in a footnote for those users who are in California specifically. So you mentioned something that's important, Dr. Lee, with your last recommendation. So offerburn.com to me is going to be a place where that website is going to be exceptionally useful, where a market is full of early adopters. And for the iBuyer programs and such, a lot of those programs have actually been rolled out in various places that are considered technology hubs here on the western part of the seaboard. You have certain parts of Washington, you have certain parts of California that are heavy into these marketplaces. That's where these guys are rolling these programs out. So for those listeners who are wondering, does this really impact me or not? If you're in those, like if you're here in California, if you're in Washington, you might take a serious look at these apps, because even if they're not yet impacting you, it's likely that the rest of the rollout for these online buyer programs are going to start here and roll out to New York and then kind of roll into the center of the country over time.
Mm.
So I love that. I'm with Jonathan, man. That was amazing.
Now, it's been an ongoing theme for our shows during 2019, Dr. Lee, is video and the power of video as a marketing tool. Have you got any services, insights, or any kind of remarks how you view video yourself as a true marketing powerhouse for your local agent?
Yeah, so here in Georgia, and I'll after this, I'll send you the infographic that has because it has all of the US, so you might be able to use it. And it shows as of last month.
For you, Dr. Lee, I'll do anything.
Well, I didn't create this. I forgot it was from Google Trends. It's based off of Google Trends, but they show in every state what's the most popular social media network. So here in Georgia, as well as in several states, YouTube is by far the #1 place. Here in Georgia, we all get it, because in Georgia, people are like, oh, my car broke down, and you'll drive by them and they've got a YouTube video on how to reinstall something. You're like, really? So you're gonna use a YouTube video? You're gonna do it yourself? Okay, but that's who we are. So video here is king. It really is king in Georgia in particular, but I know so many places, and I think most agents are scared to use it. I poll audiences, workshop audiences all the time, like, why aren't you using it? Because everybody gets it, because we watch videos. But most people say, I don't want to see myself, hear myself. And I
hear that all the time, and I think to myself, well, you're just going to have to overcome it, my dear, or he or she or whatever. But it does apply a lot to ladies, though, doesn't it? But I just think, you got any insight how you overcome this natural, feeling,
Don't be on it. I mean, and I say that, if you really, because some people are very insecure, so you don't have to be on it. Get your clients to do testimonials, get your partners, your vendor, your lender, your home stager, get them on video. A lot of them are happy to do it, and they'll partner with you. So if you absolutely don't feel comfortable, I even use a service called Powtoons, where it does the graphics. So if you want to just do a voiceover or no voiceover and stick the information out.
She's got another recommendation.
Powtoons.com.
That one I've heard of. The first and only one that I actually knew. Woo!
That's awesome. That's
finally.
Because usually no one has heard
you've just damaged my eardrums, actually, Robert. Oh, God, no, there we go.
Sorry, John.
Oh my Godfathers! I can't control him. Listeners of yours, he's left his. Well, I think Robert's got a bit cabin fever. He spends most of his time in his little home office.
I do spend most of my time there. I am missing my home office something fierce. I've been spending the last 4 days in a car. I now know more about Middletown than anybody actually should. They're not selling homes here.
Right. We're gonna round up the podcast part of the show. Hopefully Dr. Lee's gonna agree to spend another 10, 12 minutes with us, which you can see in bonus content on the Mailrite YouTube channel and on the Mailrite website, with a full transcript of the interview, plus all the links of all the products that we've discussed in this great show. Is that okay with you, Dr. Lee?
It's A-okay. Let's
go.
No,
right. So we're going to end the podcast by asking Dr. Lee, how can people find out more about you, your fantastic services, and all the things you've discussed during the show, Dr. Lee?
Yeah, the simplest way is to either go to my website, which is learnwithdrlee.com, or I'm on a lot of social media, but it's actually me on Instagram. I've got assistants and people helping me on Facebook and stuff, but Instagram is me. So that's at Learn with Dr. Lee as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Lee. And hopefully you agree to come back on the show sometime in the new year, because it's been fabulous talking to you, and you've come out some
we'll hit you immediately with what were your favorite apps of 2020 as soon as 2019 ends. We like this show so much.
Right. So Robert, how can people find out more about you and what you are up to?
If they must, they can come to my website, inboundrem.com. They will find that I am in the midst of trying to update my website, as I have been for like the last 5 months. But I do have my comparison of websites companies for 2020 done. I did manage to finish that epic piece of content, so you can check that out.
And I think we'll be publishing this just before Christmas. If so, I'd like to wish you and your family, Dr. Lee and Robert, a great Christmas, and especially to our listeners and viewers, and a really profitable and prosperous new year. I think if you've been listening to the show, you've made the right decision, and we've had some fantastic guests like Dr. Lee giving their great insight. We'll be back in the new year, folks. See you soon.
Bye.
Toodles.
So I'm gonna throw it over to Robert. Robert.
Okay, so we covered technology, but God, you're brilliant. I love your personality. If you had to say like what the number one, I have things that come up in my SEO consultations, and if I could tell you what some of the common things are, like if I took the 1,000 conversations I had in 2019, there's some reoccurring themes in those conversations over and over and over again that come up, with varying degrees. I'm kind of curious. You're a coach. You're on a different side of it. You said at the very beginning that we didn't touch on it, that you look at somebody's personality and you try to coach them on how to do lead generation based on their personality type. Did I understand that correctly?
You got it.
Okay. So everybody's personality types, I would assume there's some common buckets. So based on personality type, what is a common real estate lead generation personality related coaching tip bucket? Wow, that was too big. Oof.
That was like one of my questions.
Toss that over to you.
That's like one of my. It was,
I've been hanging out with you far too long, man.
Yeah, I'm known for the long-winded questions, Dr. Lee. But my beloved co-host has come out with one there, but I'm sure you will handle it with the skill that we've seen in the podcast part of the show, Dr. Lee.
You guys are too nice to me. Thank you for all your kind words. So here, you're right. There are, though, what I always notice out of the 4 main personality types, and of course we're not just one thing, right? We're all on a spectrum, right?
Sure.
But overall, each one of us, we have one that's a little more dominant, just a little bit more, but that's the piece that is very important because it does shape how and what we do. And the crazy thing that I always see when people come to me, I don't know what it is, but somehow maybe opposites attract. So it seems like a lot of agents seem to connect with offices that are opposite, or training programs that are opposite their personality. For example, maybe someone is more of a introverted one-on-one, like they do really well one-on-one, but they can't do groups at all, right? But they're at an office that's making them do seminars and get in front of people. And it's like, why'd you do that? But I get it. Most of us, it is kind of self-awareness. A lot of us just don't realize it. So maybe we admire something about this person or this group, and so we gravitate towards it when that's not really a good fit for our personality.
Can I just interrupt for a second? Actually, I think you got a fantastic insight there. I found with a lot of brokerages, national ones or boutique or local, that they tend to have a marketing methodology for the brokerage, and then they try and get agents, and it's like they get agents that's a round peg and they're a square hole, and they try and ram it. And then when it doesn't work, they blame the agent. But it was obvious from day one with some kind of insight that individual could probably be very effective. But it's just they just got one methodology or one method of marketing. Am I on to something there, Dr. Lee?
You nailed it. That's exactly what I went to school for. So I need to give you a copy of my degree. You should get a honorary copy because that's it. You nailed it.
So you were talking about the 4 personality types. So the first group was the opposites attract, to summarize. So what was the other groups though?
Yeah, so some of the other things, even just with the study, one of the things that we saw, so out of the 4 personality types, we looked at the top 1,000 sales agents in the nation, and this was 2 years ago, so not too old of data, but out of the 1,000, all 4 of the personality types were represented. And the personality types, we've got dominant, which is what most of us think is that used car salesman, the pushy, buy it now person, which I'm actually a D, so I get it. And most people think of
shame on you.
I know. Oh, no.
Sorry, go ahead. I couldn't help it.
That's how I always feel. I always say it, like, forgive me, I'm a D. Then you have the chatty Cathys, or our influencers. They're the social butterflies. They can walk into any room. Nobody's a stranger, right? So we think of them as well with sales. Right. But then we've got the other 2, which are more introverted, and a lot of people kind of relegate them to the admin position when they actually do really well. And we just kind of push them off like, eh. We have the conscientious person, which again, you kind of do want them in the admin role, though. You want them to help with that, but they're really good one-on-one and helping people. I think of a lot of time first timers, may not just be first time buyers. It could be first time sellers. It could be first time investors. But if someone's new to it, they need that person that dots every I, crosses every T.
Sure.
And then the 4th one are steadies. I call them stable Mabels, but they're the rocks. Right? They're the even keel. They're going to, even when it looks like the house just burned down and everything's about to go up in flames, they're able to just bring calm. So we need all 4 of these people, and every personality type can rock out in sales as long as they are, given the help for their personality and shown what activities and lead generation works for them.
So I take it that an important part of your mission and role in terms of your own business is you help somebody identify what personality type they might primarily fall into, because some of us are going to be mixed, but you're going to say, I'm going to find the dominant personality trait, right? And then you're going to say, based on that, this is my advice to you for lead generation based on this personality type. Am I right?
Right. As well as, it's advice, but because I'm a coach, coaching is not supposed to be so much advice as it is partnering with them to get there. So that's what I work on as well, because they have to see it. They have to get what I see in order for it to be a career.
Some awareness. One thing I've noticed, which I've discussed on the shows during 2019 with Robert, is obviously online marketing, but also what I classify as the Buffini methodology of building a very tight-knit group of referral resources in your local community. And I call it the Buffini methodology, because Buffini have been one of and there's a number of coaching individuals and platforms that kind of push that methodology, and I'm totally fine with it. But what I've found is that agents that got used to the Buffini methodology, and then you try and say, well, you can up your game by introducing online marketing. So do your online marketing and also your Buffini. They find it very difficult. And also the online marketer type, trying to build a referral personal network. I think the best way is to combine these 2 methodologies, but I find a lot of agents really struggle with that. Is that struggle around these different type of personality types, Dr. Lee? I got there in the end, didn't I, Dr. Lee?
Yeah, that, by the way, was one of his questions. So he wins on the length of the query. So go ahead.
It's been horrible. It's been horrible to me now, isn't it?
It's an abusive relationship you're witnessing. Please don't call anyone.
Please answer, Dr. Lee.
Yeah.
I love that you even coined it, the Buffini method, because I do feel like he's really kind of just like we call Cokes when people are talking about soda, Coke, he's kind of really taking that, and I love it. So going back to even my example of me being a D, referral and using his program never worked for me as a D. And again, just from the research we've done, we've been able to see referrals work wonderfully for our S's, the steady people. Remember the stable, Mabel, one-on-one, calm, works wonderful for them, as well as influencers. Chatty Cathy's, it's always going to work for them, right?
Yeah.
But people like me, a D, my mind has already gone somewhere else. That's just not going to work for me. I'm gone, right?
Okay.
So it all comes back to personality. So I love, the great thing about just kind of how I see the different clients I work with is that some people, I absolutely want them to have Buffini's Referral Maker app. Absolutely, because it's going to just be that linchpin to help them win. But others, they've got to stay away from it, like with the 10-foot pole, because it's actually going to drain their energy and drain their momentum in this industry. So I really don't believe one size fits all. And that's,
but can you actually, I suppose if you've got this insight, you've listened to this show and you've listened to what we've been discussing, you probably will. But there's only a few people I've seen, I've had a lot of discussions over the past 18 months with agents. It's just a few that can either combine the both together, or they've got somebody else to do the Buffini and they're doing the online, or they're doing the Buffini and they've got somebody in their team that can do the online stuff.
Right.
What's your remark about that?
No, I agree. And so often, that's what I often have to recommend for many people, is that you either have to automate it. Certain things you can absolutely automate because your personality, again, is going to be drained by it. You either automate it or give it away. So that means you outsource it, you give it to a granddaughter, cousin, nephew, sister who can help you, or you hire a college intern. I love college interns. I really do. We use them all the time here for so many different projects. So it's not that it shouldn't be done. So yeah, I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying you only do these things, because I think in our businesses, we've got to have just really a diversity of different ways to generate leads, but not one person can do them all. So we might have to outsource it or automate it if that's possible, if there's a good enough program for it. So
I've got one kind of final question, and I'm going to throw it, give it to Robert to see if he's got one. So what are some of the trends that you think are going to turn up in 2020? Is there anything that come on your radar you think that most people haven't seen coming, that you think you've seen in 2019 that will become a bigger trend in 2020?
You know, I know AI has been around for a while, and I know we've tried in the real estate industry. So I actually hope it will become a bigger player for us. I think it could actually, to your point earlier, I think it could actually help us with some of the things and the tasks, the lead generation and the things we need to do. So maybe that may be
I'm not too sure about that one, actually, but I see where you're coming from. I'm not going to be totally critical, but there's just a lot of, especially in the tech area, everybody, it's the kind of the catchphrase of 2018 and 2019, artificial intelligence, isn't it, Dr. Lee? I'm just going to throw it over to Robert. Robert, have you got one more final question to ask Dr.
Well,
Fabulous,
I have
Dr.
10.
Lee?
I have 10, but we don't have time. We've already gone well over what our normal showtime would be, because you have been a pleasure and a delight. So for once, I'm going to steal Jonathan's thunder. I usually let him do the, oh, please come back on the show kind of stuff. But I hope you will come back on the show, because I'd love to talk to you and dig a little deeper into more traditional types of marketing, and ask if you talk to your clients about that. When would you talk to your clients about that? And what would you talk to them about first before they even addressed that? Because my opinion is online marketing is a topic that probably should be addressed later, after somebody has all the basics down, like they're doing a lot of other things, and they hit like a part of their growth, and now they need to go past that. That's when I'm going to say, so you can see there's a whole world of things that I'd like to talk to you about, none of which we have time for now. Do you think you might be willing to come back on in 2020?
Absolutely. Thank you for extending the invitation. Of course.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Lee. You've been an impressive guest, and you've managed. So we're finished 2019 strong, I feel, listeners and viewers. We'll be back in the new year, folks. See you soon, folks. Bye.